No cowl today. It's a heat wave in Minnesota. We're in the 30s. So Friday, August 13th was that Vacation Men's Restaurant parking lot debacle. On Saturday, August 14th, mother-in-law sends that gaslighting email of the evening exploded and she has no idea why. I didn't plan to do this, but I'll briefly talk about our drive home. So I live in Minneapolis, near Minneapolis, and it is a 20-hour trip from Wildwood to Minneapolis. We wanted to have a huge push and get to the other side of Chicago. We thought if we hit Chicago late at night, like at 9-10 p.m., that we would just be able to fly right through. I recall a follower in a past comment about when we went down and traffic was terrible, and the follower had said, "It's Chicago, there's always traffic, it doesn't matter the time of day." You were correct. We hit Chicago, I think at 9:30 p.m. on Saturday, August 4th. I might get the details wrong, but just going off my memory, I believe Saturday, August 14th was the season opener with the Sox. The Yankees were playing in Chicago and it had gone into the 10th inning. We sat in traffic for at least an hour and a half in Chicago. Once we got to the north side of Chicago, husband and I made the decision I popped another one of my Ritalin for my ADHD. Husband drank a Monster, and we made it all the way home. So we left New Jersey at 9 a.m. on Saturday and made it to our home near Minneapolis at 4 a.m. on Sunday. Anyway, back to essentially the story. We didn't respond to my mother-in-law's email. Slight tangent. I'll eventually talk about this traumatic event at some point, but on August 22nd, 2013, my, at the time, 28-year-old brother died in a horrific farming accident. So I wanted to go down with my family. I usually go every year to be with them to remember him around that horrible day. So on Saturday, August 21st, I had planned to, even though it felt like I had just got back from an insanely long trip, wanted to be with my origin family in Iowa. We had an electrical project, doesn't matter. Something was going on in the yard that my husband stayed behind to work on it, and my daughters and I drove to Iowa on Saturday, August 21st to be with my family that day, and then on the Remembrance Day of my deceased brother on Sunday, August 22nd. A reminder that in emails past, I have said to my mother-in-law that she is never allowed on our property at our house, that her invitations have been revoked until further notice. Part 2 for today. So I'm going to be looking to the side at my laptop. So last night, as I had mentioned in a post a couple days ago, this next event didn't happen to me. It's one of the first ones, maybe the first that, I didn't read it. It didn't happen to me. I wasn't there. And so I asked my husband if he was willing to, and yes, he was, to sit down with me and try to do as much of a trauma narrative with me as he could. He's seen some of my videos, and I explained to him, try to do it in as much detail as you can. It will be helpful once it's over. I feel nauseous right now, but we're going to do this, and then I'm going to feel good, after the other stuff that I talk about. So my daughters and I hit the road at about 10:30 a.m. on Saturday, August 21st. Husband probably went out into the yard. He said that he came in the house around noon, 12:30 maybe, to have some lunch, sit down, have some lunch. Our kitchen, our main kind of kitchen sink window, looks out at our cul-de-sac. He said that he was rinsing grapes or something like that in the sink and saw a vehicle come into the cul-de-sac that, his knee-jerk gut feeling is, wow, that looks like my mom, but my mom wouldn't come here after what just happened in Wildwood, and certainly not since Bethany has, told her that she absolutely cannot come to the property, so that's not my mom. And he's thinking all this as the vehicle parks in front, not in our driveway, but parks in front of the house, which is where he realizes, that is my mom. My mom is here. He says he absolutely froze for a moment, uncertain what to do. Could he pretend like he wasn't there? No, unfortunately, the deck, we have a canopy that we pull out that's kind of not meant to be pulled out all day. So anyway, long story short, there were enough things out in the yard and around, maybe our shed door was open, that in that moment he knew, okay, I can't just pretend like I'm not here. He says, as he's standing frozen, he must have turned around to look out the patio door at our backyard, because he said before he even he's waiting for the doorbell to ring, but then he sees his mother in the backyard carrying like bags, a whole bunch of bags, like purse over her shoulder, a bunch of bags, something in her hands, which we'll talk about later what that was. So she went to the backyard first to essentially try to corner whoever was there. Oh, based on some comments on some other commenters, I will acknowledge that it's as weird to us as it is to you that my mother-in-law like perfectly showed up that day. Until that point, she hadn't actually showed up uninvited. It was uncomfortable when she would come, but after the last confrontation at our yard, not even this men's one, but she'd confronted me in my yard. If you're a follower, we told her that she was never allowed. So it's just odd for her to not only show up, but to show up like within hours after I've left for Iowa. He says finally she must have figured out no one's in the backyard, walked back around to the front of the house. He said the doorbell rings. He goes to answer the door. I said, please detail as much as you can, like what'd she say, what happened? And he couldn't really give me tons of detail. I was like, did she just start off with, oh, hey, son, which I'm guessing she did because we act, everything is swept under the rug. We don't talk about anything in real time. I'll be very clear that I'm assuming she was like, oh, son, so nice to see you. He said she was absolutely loaded with gifts. She's holding shopping bags in each arm, balancing some stuff in like one hand, and is holding like a soda and like a meal that she'd picked up that I'll talk more about in a moment. He says she kind of leans towards him like, oh, I need to just put this all down. So he said kind of without thinking, because I'll talk later about my reaction. How the fuck could you let her in? So he said he just kind of moved back to, let her come in. She asks where the girls and I are. Matt explains that we're on our way to Iowa for my brother Adam's remembrance. She dumps all the gifts onto a counter, like kitchen counter peninsula that we have. She told Matt that she needed to use the bathroom. He commented last night, I realize now that, she'd only driven about 45 minutes from her house to ours, and she'd stopped at Quick Trip to pick up a meal to share with everyone. I love details, but he couldn't remember what that meal was. She goes to the bathroom. We had done a bathroom remodel since she'd been there. So he said she was, showering the bathroom DIY remodel with praises. Commenting on new wall hangings. She just hadn't been there so long. And a part of me now, actually, as I tell this, is like, is that a way to guilt us that she hadn't been there that long, or just a comment? Anyway, just something that I randomly thought of in the moment. My husband says, again, later I'll talk about how I was like, how could you let her in the house? He said that he's like, all right, I'm going to hear this cheesy, just baloney, superficial apology at any moment. Of course, that's what she's here for. Why else would you come after what just has gone down except to apologize? He says it was awkward small talk at first. He said that since he had come in the house to get his lunch and had been preparing it, he sat down to eat his lunch, hoping she would just leave after dropping off the things and hopefully just giving a superficial apology. But she sat down at the table next to him. He said he gave a pretty blunted affect, just kind of answering the social, whatever, superficial things that she was asking, probably about, who knows, swim lessons? Are you lesson planning for school? Who knows? Oh, at some point he also said that she offered how she happened to be at our house. It wasn't that she planned to come, it's that she happened to be in the area. I live extremely rurally where no one else wants to live. You don't happen to be in my area. So anyway, he says he can't remember how she eventually launched into what she was there to talk about, but she started asking how she could fix things, that she really wanted to mend things, and that she wanted to extend an olive branch to me and needed him to help her do that. He said that he brought up all the gifts that are sitting on the kitchen peninsula as an example of things that we feel that she doesn't listen to us about. This is the kind of stuff we've asked you multiple times not to give us. Backing up a little bit, he said that when she came out of the bathroom, she had oohed and ahed over a bunch of Lego sets that we had on the floor. We've bought Legos for our daughters, but a friend of mine at my work had given us a ton of her daughter's Lego sets. And so we had essentially way more than I would ever buy. So some great Lego sets. So I guess sorry, I should have backed up. She was oohing and eyeing over the Legos, and he kind of said that he ashamedly had felt the need, again, because we wouldn't normally buy the intense Lego sets that we had, he kind of felt the need to say, oh, we got them from a coworker of Bethany's. So anyway, back to present moment of the story, when he says this is the kind of stuff we've asked multiple times not to have, he said she immediately, without a hesitation, launches into, well, how are those Lego gifts that you have over here from Bethany's coworker any different from the dollar store crap that I have on your counter? Husband says that at this point he saw where the whole thing was going, because I said, what did you respond with? And he said, I can't even remember. I don't even know if I responded, because instantly it was clear to me that she wasn't here to apologize. I saw where this was going. And later, again, I'll go more into detail later, but I was like, why did you let her stay then? And he's like, to just watch her burn the bridge, to just watch her absolutely torch it. I knew and accepted at that moment that my relationship with my mother was over. So he says he survived lunch. She launched into a whole, she's been through a lot of therapy and is seeing a bipolar specialist. A past commenter told me that sometimes narcissistic personality disorder people will think that they have bipolar. We thought that she had bipolar for years until being in therapy made it clear what she was. Anyway, love this comment. So she's seeing a bipolar specialist who told her her bipolar is fine. I told Matt later, I've been in therapy for years, not just for this narcissistic stuff, but if you're a follower, look back at all my content of all that's wrong with me. I've never heard a therapist tell me I'm fine. And I know a few therapists follow me. I have a feeling, let me know if it's different. Do you ever tell a client that they're fine? I'm of the mindset that everyone needs therapy. He said from that point of talking how, I was assessed, I went to a therapist. And again, too, we talked about her going to therapy, but we never knew that she'd actually been going. Had she actually? So he said from the whole, I've been to, my bipolar therapy that I still don't know if I believe she's gone to, and said it was fine. He said she used that as a jumping board into Bethany's past diagnoses of borderline personality disorder. And she said that she had done some reading that someone with borderline personality disorder creates a border and you're either in or out of that border, and that my mother-in-law and the sister-in-laws are considered my out border. And which, first of all, where did you read about borderline that was the definition? Anyway, borderline personality disorder wrecks families. Spouses will either go against it or go with it about my borderline personality disorder. She went on to warn Matt that growing up without cousins and an extended family will be traumatic for our daughters. Doom and gloom on that front is my husband's words. Pulled a lot of family strings. Again, I'd give more detail if I could, but this is from my husband. Something that he did give me as a quote is something that she also said was, I know you deep down. I know you deep down, Maddie, and I know what you want, and this isn't what you want. He said, I silently ate my lunch, ended up going through, so I guess he must have finished it, just reading what I've typed, sent a bunch of the stuff that was on the counter back with her, kept stuff that he thought he could get cash for returning it at Target. He says, we walked down to the door. There never was an apology. He said he feels like she could tell that he was not feeling the conversation. He said, peace out. I need some space for a while. And she said something along the lines of, he couldn't remember if it was the ball's in your court, the next move is yours, and that was that. So I do just a short visit in Iowa with the girls. He didn't tell me. He didn't want to ruin any part of the trip that I was doing down there. So we come home just after one night. We come home on Sunday, August 22nd, and I can't remember. He seemed a little off when I got home, but I just thought maybe he was tired or had an electrical debacle in the backyard that he didn't want to tell me about yet. And I can't remember if I took the dog out. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I went out into the garage to do something and saw a pile of junk, of dollar store gifts on his tool bench. And I didn't immediately confront him about it because our girls were still awake. And as I've said in past content, we try to keep this stuff to when they're unaware of it. But instantly I'm just like, what the hell? But that what the hell, when I saw those dollar store gifts on his tool bench in the garage, I didn't actually consider for one moment that she had come to our house. I thought that he must have on Saturday received a huge box of this junk, because it's very normal for her. Again, if you're a follower and have seen my content, the love bombing, didn't know those terms at the time, but it's very normal for her to send huge boxes of junk to our house. So I assumed that on maybe Saturday, because Sunday we wouldn't get mail, Saturday that he had gotten this box of junk. I was already mad about that though, because we've told her, don't give us this junk like this. And so I had already kind of been flirting with the idea of him of, when we start getting this in the mail, we're going to put refused return to sender on it so that we're not taking part in it. It's, we can say it as many times as we want that we won't accept it, but if ultimately we let it come, we're still accepting it. So anyway, I'm already kind of mad at him that, he must have opened this box before I could put refuse return to sender on it. But I, again, stay calm because my daughters are still, getting ready for bed. They weren't in bed yet. And again, we try to keep this stuff for when they are not awake. I think he did the book reading with them that night because he hadn't seen him the night previous. So just to blah, 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 connect. And so me being the asshole that I am, I went out, once I knew they were in their room and were going to stay in there, I went out to the garage, grabbed all of that dollar store junk, brought it in and put it on the table. Because again, being the asshole that I am, I wanted him to shit his pants when he essentially saw, oh shit, Bethany knows. I've got some explaining to do. The girls go to bed, whatever. He comes out, and I must have been showering at that point. I don't know what I was doing anyway. So he saw it before I saw him see the stuff that's on the table. And when I come out from whatever I was doing, he's like, so yeah, you found this stuff. And I'm like, yeah. Why didn't you return the package when you got it? He's like, well, it wasn't a package. My mom came. And I was like, and you didn't open the door? And she left it on the doorstep? Still bad, but I can deal with that. And he goes, no, I opened the door and let her in the house. So I could feel my emotions slightly rising. And I said, let's go out on the deck and talk about this. Wish I didn't have to admit these things, but it's part of the honest story. We stepped out onto the deck. I picked up a deck chair and attempted to throw it over the side of the deck, but it was too heavy and it didn't make it, so it crashed back down. I can't remember how it got there, but I'd grabbed some cheesy canvas with a quote on it, maybe to whack him over the head with it. I'm joking. I don't physically abuse my husband, but I tried to break it over my knee in a fit of anger and just ended up with a horrendously bruised knee for. If it's not apparent, I hadn't even heard yet what she said to him. I felt so extremely betrayed and furious that he would let her. You let her in my house? Not only had I told her that she wasn't allowed after the December 2020 confrontation, the wedding confrontation, texting my parents, sending my parents a letter telling us she's never welcome here again, but she just confronted us in New Jersey. You let that bitch under my roof? I was losing it. I was losing it. He goes, can I tell you what she said? I was like, I don't give a fuck to hear what she said. Let's talk about how furious I am at you right now. Finally, I can't remember how we got there. Maybe I breathed for a while, but I said, sure, fine. Let's hear what she said. Needless to say, I was furious, but I was already so furious that he'd let her in, or at the abuse in general, that can't remember being that much additionally furious about it. But essentially just knowing this bitch is dead to me. Absolutely dead to me. She came to my house and essentially told my husband to divorce me because my borderline personality disorder is making me so unhinged. Maybe it's the abuse. Maybe it's the abuse and the repressed childhood trauma I didn't know at the time that I had that's making me crazy. I don't know if I slept with my husband that night. I can't remember that detail. Because again, I'm mad at my mother-in-law, but I'm so sick of feeling betrayed. by my husband. And I know those of you rooting for him, yeah, he's done, he's gained a backbone, and I realize he's had 35 years of trauma, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't take away the fact that I'm still very betrayed. So that was Sunday, August 22nd. I'd normally be done here with that leg of the story, but I really do want to get through all of this today because I'm so ready to be done, and current stuff is really piling up and starting to even avalanche, and I really want to start getting into current day. So let's just keep going. So to be clear here, that was, I guess I just said it, Sunday, August 22nd. A month goes by, essentially, of probably Matt and I fighting every day. And in this time frame is when I'm starting to Google symptoms. And actually, yeah, so this time frame is important. This is when I'm realizing that it is abuse. I'm not just ridiculous and dramatic to call this stuff abuse. And instead of having a bipolar mother-in-law, I might have a malignant narcissist mother-in-law and be in a family cult, a narcissistic family cult. So essentially a month goes by with zero contact. And there shouldn't be contact because Matt said that as he let her out the door, he conveyed that he needs space and wants no contact. And she said, so this is where this is important, that she said something along the lines of, balls in your court, your next move is yours, something like that. I am not going to green screen because you all know that man kills my upload time and it takes forever to get to you guys. So I'm just going to read. You'll just have to trust me. I'll try to do the ... and the exclamation points where they apply. On Thursday, September 16th, 8:58 p.m., mother-in-law emails. Hi, son. Hope this day finds you well! Exclamation, exclamation. All caps, TGIF, 4 exclamations. You now have 2 school weeks under, and for some reason the 2 school weeks is all capitalized, under your belts, 3 exclamations. I sure hope that they went just great for Gabby, Sophie, and you, 4 exclamations. Big changes for Bethy and Zeke, my dog, as well. I look forward to hearing about some of the highlights. Would you please find 2 days in your schedules for me to come and visit with the girls, and 1 day for you all to come to my house? There are toys, crafts, activities, and a loving grandma just waiting for the girls. Please let me know soon so I can put the dates on my calendar. Really looking forward to seeing the girls and the dog, 3 exclamation points. In parentheses, it's a grandma thing, 4 exclamation points. Miss you all very much. Wishing you all the best. Love, comma, all caps, Mom. I thought she said balls in our court. Like, not that I'm surprised, but just, yeah. Probably had a fight that night with my husband. I can't remember. Again, not going to green screen. It's so difficult for those to upload for me. Maybe because I live in the boondocks. I have no idea. On Friday, September 17th, I get a text on my phone, and it's from my sister's brother, who she still talks to. He's the initial text that I see, but long story short, I must have been invited to a group chat by my mother-in-law, but she's blocked on my phone, so all I saw was the response. So the theory is that my mother-in-law was wishing my husband's aunt, who, again, if you're a follower, I've talked about visiting them on Thanksgiving, really, really being close to this aunt. It was her birthday. So mother-in-law must have wished this aunt a happy birthday and included me in the group chat. Again, to remind you of emails, I have said, I'm done with you with text. I'm done with you with emails and texts. Do not email text. So when I get this text, not from her, but again, once her brother responds, thank you, I will relay this birthday message to Aunt Katie. That's when I saw that, I'm in a group chat with 5 in-laws who are extremely abusive to me, and it must have been kicked off by my mother-in-law, but I just didn't see that text because she's blocked. And so, again, I'm feeling the hypervigilance, and I was already having hypervigilance at this point. Stuff in my earlier content talks about my intense physical symptoms of that, but again, it's just like, here it goes again. Here goes the whirlwind. This woman does not fucking stop. And so it's like so I've just been yelled at a little less than 2 weeks previously in the men's parking lot. Then I hear that she's come to my home and told my husband what a piece of shit I am. And then she's a month later, sorry, I'm getting my dates wrong and I had to burp. Anyway, you get the gist if you're following along so far. Even though a month has gone by, I guess, since the men's and her telling me to divorce my husband, it's still just like, we've told you to back off. And so really, really some crappy feelings, which I'm probably feeling right now. I should probably pet my hair, as that bothers some people. I'm joking. Anyway, I'm going to pause for a minute. I can't remember my train of thought. It's kind of because if you can't tell, I'm feeling a lot of physical feelings. It's not just the nausea in my stomach at this point. I'm feeling a lot of like heart pressure. My back feels tense and I just feel like crap right now, but trauma narrative, right? So anyway, so again, I have a feeling I fought with my husband that night too. Like, what the fuck? Here it all goes again. Like, we're just back in. She just doesn't give a shit. She doesn't give a fuck about us. She just wants ultimate control. We are the pigs that got out of the pen and she needs us back in the barn real quick. So all weekend, I'm sure there's very tense conversation between husband and I. Since I was so new to the idea of the fact that they might be narcissists and that this was actually abuse happening to me, I didn't know that no contact is a technical term. But I was like, I'm going no contact with them. I'm done. I'm done seeing these people. You can do whatever you want with them. As you know, if you want to drive up to see your mom, if you want to go see your sisters, fine. The girls and I have had enough. I am taking a stand for the girls and I'm going no contact with your family. And I'm drafting an email and I'm sending it and it's over. I'm also going to consult with a lawyer friend of mine to see if I can threaten them with a harassment restraining order, because this harassment, I cannot do it. Didn't know it's called hypervigilance, but I'm sick. He says, yep, that's fine. I would like to send an email first to the email about total again gaslight. You said ball's in your court, but here I am a month later, a little less than a month later, saying, come over, everything's normal. Congratulations on 2 weeks at school. So I said, fine, I'm sending my email, my no contact email to your family Sunday night. I'm not going to say it includes you. It's going to be from, I think I left by saying I was consulting a lawyer who said, oh my God, yes, if you even have a quarter of the emails, texts, blah, blah, blah that you are saying in liberal state Minnesota, yes, you will have no problem getting a harassment restraining order, if that should be the route that you choose to go. So again, back to husband, I'm like, if you want to send an email to your mom, fine. All I'm saying is by Sunday night, I am sending my no contact email. So whether you want to respond before that, after that, I don't care, but I'm sending an email because I've had it. It only took insane abuse for me to get there. I realize it's a little embarrassing. So he typed up his email, showed it to me. I gave, I'm not going to tell him what to change, but gave him the thumbs up. And on Sunday, September 19th, 2021 at 8:05 p.m., he said to his mom, hi mom, school is going well and the girls are enjoying their new classrooms and teachers. I am busy as usual this year. I'm going to say no to visits at this time. The family and I need some time to process the events of the last few years. You had told me when you visited last that it was up to us when we were ready for visiting again, and I will let you know when we get to that point. Please don't send gifts at this time. I've asked you multiple times to not buy gifts for the girls. They already have so much. We are asking all friends and family to contribute to Gabby and Sophie's Minnesota 529s. It's a savings plan. He gave her the link, a college savings plan. I've asked you many times to stop including me on group texts, and you continue to do that, so I've blocked your cell number for the time being. I will still keep the email avenue open for now, but I continue to ask to not be included on things that are peripheral to my life. He gave an example in parentheses of a random old friend of hers that had a funeral that Matt barely knew and could barely remember. Again, you're seeing like only a bit of the constant contact with them. Please don't show up unannounced at our home during this time, as we've made it clear that's not a good feeling for us. I wish things hadn't come to this, but this has been a culmination of a decade of requests related to communication limits, gifts, weekend visits, and they always seem to fall on deaf ears. I am not shutting you out of my life yet completely, but I need to be able to see and observe over the next months ahead that these requests of mine be taken seriously and followed through with on your end. Matt. Matt had read my email that I was going to send, so 12 minutes later, same day, Sunday, September 19th, I sent my email to every single one of my in-laws, mother-in-law, and all of my sister-in-laws and their husbands. Mother-in-law and et al. I see that you added me to a group chat to wish happy birthday to Aunt Katie. I couldn't see your actual message or the sisters if they commented because you're all blocked. However, I deduced what it was about and that you initiated it due to the subsequent comments from Uncle John. I have already told you not to contact me via text or email and that you are blocked, yet you continue to send notification and communication attempts through each of those avenues and by snail mail. I have told you not to confront me again after the first time you did, yet you have 3 additional times. I have told you to never contact my Iowa origin family after your times of texting and sending letters, yet you continued anyway. I have told you not to come to my house ever again, but you came to my house uninvited and unannounced 4 weeks ago while I was gone, using that time to insult me to my own husband. I have told you not to ask to visit us anymore, yet you emailed on Thursday asking for 2 dates on the calendar in the near future. What that visit was supposed to look like, I can't logically imagine. 5 weeks ago, you yelled at me again in front of my children, and 4 weeks ago, you repeatedly insulted my character to my husband. He told you he sees no path forward. Hi. Let me use this opportunity to make it very clear that I'm going no contact with all of you. In parentheses, I put all of their first names. Gabriella and Sophie are going no contact with all of you. Matt can make his own choices, and I offer him that freedom. Read that again so it really sinks in. It's super important and not up for discussion or debate. In bold font, I put Bethany, Gabriella, and Sophia are going full no contact with. I put their full names. What these no contact boundaries mean is no phone calls, texts, mail, packages, FaceTime, no method of communication, even if not specifically listed here. Birthday and Christmas gifts, or any mail for that matter, for Bethany will not be accepted and refused and returned. Physical gifts, or any mail for that matter, for the girls will be refused and returned. If you feel super committed to giving Soph and Gabs a gift of some sort, please consider contributing a financial gift to their college savings plan. I believe Matt shared the link in the email he sent to you before this one from me. Any Halloween, Valentine's, Easter packages, because those were common, will be unopened, refused, and returned through the carrier they were delivered with. I named all of their names. Are never allowed in the home, in the yard, in the driveway, in the cul-de-sac of, I said our entire address. If you leave something on our doorstep, you are crossing this no contact boundary. Every other summer, extended family vacations are now moot. That was a privilege offered to both extended families that has now been lost. You might see us in the... Continuing on with my no contact email to my in-laws. Every other summer, just go back. Every other summer, extended family vacations are now moot. That was a privilege offered to both extended families that has now been lost. You might see us in summer 2023. You might not. Likely not, since Wildwood 2021 unexpectedly cost us $6,000. Zero contact with anyone in Bethany's Iowa origin family. No texts, no handwritten letters, nothing, not even holiday cards. Never go to the girls' elementary school. We notified the school. If you ask Matt something and he says no, that no is accepted instantly. Again, because I'm not going to make my husband do no contact. So anyway, if you ask Matt something, you accept that no instantly. You don't repeat ask. You don't pressure. You don't give excuses. You don't rationalize. You don't guilt. No means no the first time. I put that in all caps. There's currently no expiration date on this no contact boundary for Gabs, Soph, and Bethany. It's no earlier than a brief Christmas 2022 get together. I can tell you that. Quite possibly longer. Brief aside. When I typed that, I thought there was no way that I could do that. That seemed so cruel and I couldn't even imagine. Now that I'm out of the cult and I've identified the abuse for what it is, I'm never seeing those motherfuckers ever again. Back to the letter. Whether or not you agree with these boundaries doesn't matter. They are clear, serious, and for my family's health, stability, and healing from the abuse we've endured over years. Don't press them or question them or cross them, as I will take additional steps if needed. I have consulted with a lawyer in the state of Minnesota about whether my situation qualifies for a harassment restraining order. I was assured it will be no problem to get one, especially with the email, letter, text, audio proof from each of you. P.S. Mother-in-law, there is a chance that the sisters have blocked my email from the time that I was like, screw you all, don't ever contact me again. So mother-in-law, please ensure that this reaches all the parties that are noted in my no contact boundaries. And then in parentheses, again, I say all of their names. No contact starts right here, right now with this email. In other words, all caps, do not respond. Back to normal caps, via any method. Sincerely, Bethany, my last name, on behalf of Gabriella and Sophia, last name. Within 20 minutes, oldest sister-in-law forwarded that email to my husband's personal email with only the comment, just want to make sure that you're included on this, bro. Love, oldest sister-in-law. The audacity that she thinks that I wouldn't talk to him about that. But again, they've shown they know nothing about us or our relationship. Maybe hopefully goes without saying, my husband did not respond to oldest sister-in-law's just want to make sure you're included on this, bro email that was just less than 30 minutes, less than 20, I think, after I sent that no contact email. The next day, Matt gets home from school. He's a school teacher, and after the girls are, I don't know, maybe outside somewhere where they can't hear, he did not show me because he had deleted them, but he said his middle sister absolutely laid into him about just the usual stuff. I'm horrible. I'm toxic. I have mental health problems. I'm going to ruin my family. I'm ruining the girls. Matt is a weakling for not standing up to me. He's going to allow me to ruin their family. He said it was like a 20 text tirade, which I wish I could show you. I'd love to put her vitriol, her disgusting vitriol, for how zen she loves to be with her little Washington life. I'd love to put it on TikTok, but I don't have it. But after she did that 20 text absolute vitriol that he did not respond to, it was quiet. It was quiet for almost 15 weeks until we got what I believe was a holiday card from the oldest sister-in-law. I believe it to be a holiday card because it came around the holidays, and yeah. And now hopefully you understand why I get the people who say it's better to just throw it away because by doing the refuse return, you are responding to their abuse. Hopefully you now understand, now that I've read that email, that's, I don't know, since I had said I will refuse and return, I kind of want to just stick with what I said. I feel like I'm being tested for the first time with, are they sticking with those boundaries? Thanks for being here. I believe my first post on TikTok was September 29th. That's also the day that I got TikTok. I didn't have TikTok. I thought it was a place where people did dances, like, the kids that my husband teaches. I figured those were the people that were on TikTok. It was my sister and or a friend who had said, have you ever considered, kind of getting it out on TikTok? So yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. I was going to tell this story to the end, whether I had followers or not. So probably goes without saying that this has exploded into something that I never could have anticipated. So yeah, I guess that's it for today. And then I finally get to start bringing you all up to speed on current day. Have a great